Hi everyone. Today for our first math lesson of the week, we are learning about area of figures. You've talked about area at the beginning of the year. If you remember, we did a STEM project with our math group where we made cities, and for each of the buildings you had to find the area of it. That's something that we're reviewing today. Area is really important for any time you're measuring like a room or a carpet or a rug or a platter, whatever it is. For example, I used area to find out what furniture would fit into my apartment before I moved into it. I wanted to find out if the couches would be too big for the space that I was moving into. And so it's a really important skill that we wanted to review before you went on to the next grade. All right, so let's get started. All right, area is the measure of how much space is inside a figure. Okay, today when we're talking about figures, we're only talking about squares and rectangles. In other grades, you're going to learn about how to find the area of circles and whatever other shape you can think of. But in fourth grade, we're going to start off by just learning about finding the area of squares and rectangles. So go ahead and look at this rectangle here. You'll notice that I put grid lines inside of this rectangle. I wanted to show you that when we're finding area, we're finding out how many squares can fit inside of our figure. I could find this area because there's already grid lines in it. I could find out the area by just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. But we're beyond that. And you're not always going to have these grid lines. In fact, with your Google form for this lesson, you're going to have none with grid lines. So you have, and think about it, if you were finding the area of a carpet, you certainly wouldn't have grid lines in there to help you figure that out. So today I'm going to give you the formula for finding area. Think of it's like an algorithm, like you guys learned about in writing. The formula is you're going to do length times width to find the area. Another way of saying it is base times height. Basically, you're just going to take one side, this side, times this side. You could also do this side times this side. As you know with rectangles, this side's equal to this one, this side's equal to this one. So we don't have to do anything with these other two. So let me show you how this would work. On this side, on the length of it, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And on the width of it, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll notice I counted that one twice. That might be different than what you have. I don't know. That might seem kind of weird to you. But we are going to count this one twice when we're finding the area of it. So there's 4 on this side. So I'm going to do 6 times 4. Let's say that this was in feet. Let's say that this is a carpet. 6 feet by 4 feet. So when I find the area of it, the area is 24. Now, when I'm finding the area, I'm not just going to put 24 feet. I need to show, I need to show that the area has to do with these little squares. Each square represents that this side is 1 foot, and this side is 1 foot, and this side is 1 foot, and this side is 1 foot. So when I'm talking about area, I'm going to put 24 square feet. That's my answer, 24 square feet. If this were in yards, it would be 24 square yards. If this were just in units, any type of unit, it would be 24 square units. But when we're finding area, because each of these represents like a square, we're going to say 24 square feet. Remember this formula as we go on. All right, so our next rectangle here, again, you'll notice that we only need the measures of 2 of the sides here because we're not working with all 4 of them. We're not finding perimeter. We only need 2 of these sides to figure it out. So I'm going to do my length times my width. I could also say I'm doing my base times my height, and I'm just going to do 10 times 7. I get 70 square feet. That's my answer. Going on to the next one. Here's my rectangle. I need to find the area of it. So I'm going to do this one times this one. 12 times 5 is 60. Notice how this is in inches. Square inches. That means that if I were to have squares in here, there would be 60 of them altogether. But again, this doesn't have the grid lines because when you're finding the area of something, most of the time, it doesn't have grid lines in there. I wanted to show you this one because I wanted to show you what would happen if you were finding the area of a square, not a rectangle. On this square, I put these little markings here to show you, if you'll remember from geometry, that means that each of these sides is equal. So on a square, I only need to know one of the sides, but I'm still going to do my base times my height, or my length times my width, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to do 7 times another 7 because this one is equal to this one. It's a square. I'm going to do 7 times 7. Let's say that this is inches. So my answer is 49 square inches. Again, because it's a square, they didn't need to tell me what this side was equal to. I know that on a square, all the sides are the same. All right, so now we're going to get a little more complicated. Let's say that you have a rectangle where you know the area, but you don't know one of the sides. You know the whole, you don't know one of the parts. So to figure this out, what do you think you would do? Well, if you know the whole, but you don't know one of the parts, you would divide to find out what this is. So I'm going to do 32 divided by 4. And I get 8. So this is equal to 8. It's not square centimeters. Inside would be square centimeters. It's just 8 centimeters. Last one. I know the area of this rectangle, but I do not know what one of the sides is. Instead of multiplying, I'm going to divide. 28 divided by 7. In other words, so let me write this out for you. 28 divided by 7. In other words, what times 7 equals 28? Remember, with division, you can always flip it to multiplication by going the other way. What times 7 equals 28? And you get 4. So this is 4 inches. As you go on your Google Forms, please remember to only fill it in with a number. You don't have to write square inches, square centimeters. You don't have to write any of the units. Please only fill it in with a number. Have a great day, 4th grade.